Hello, Kipsters. Today is Friday, March 19th. Happy Friday. We are on the last day of learning about our string instrument family. So, the first week we started learning about the brass family. The second week we started learning about the woodwind family. This third week we've been introducing the string family. And our final family, which we'll be learning about next week, is the percussion family, which we've done a lot of work with. If you were in my music class, we played a lot of percussion last year. But we have plenty more instruments to learn about in that family than the ones we played in music class. So we're going to learn about some new percussion instruments, and then after that, we will play some games and get some comparison and contrast going on between all the instrument families. Hopefully, by then we know the difference between most of the families, if not all of them. Okay, but today we're going to finish with our strings family. We have two more instruments to learn about today. And these two instruments, I wouldn't say are necessarily the most popular, but especially this first one, you may have seen it or may have played it even in your day. And I'm actually working on potentially getting some of this instrument or a lot of these instruments in our hands for next year when we all come together again. But working on that, we'll see how it goes. But we're going to see what that instrument is, and that instrument is called the ukulele. The ukulele is a very versatile instrument, and I usually we're introducing it into fourth and fifth grade. Much like the recorder, once we get a little older, that's when the grasp of instruments comes into play. So you may be able to play this instrument if you're in music class next year. We shall see. But for now, we're just going to learn about it. The ukulele, sometimes abbreviated to uke, is a member of the lute family of instruments. It generally employs four nylon or gut strings. The ukulele originated in the 19th century as a Hawaiian adaptation of the Portuguese machete, a small guitar-like instrument, which was introduced to Hawaii by Portuguese immigrants, many from Madeira and the Azores. Ukuleles come in various sizes. It's a lot of information there, but most of it's basically saying that the ukulele is an adaptation of an instrument from a Portuguese country, and it's usually this adaptation was created in Hawaii. So if you've ever been to Hawaii or have ever seen like a ukulele, I'm trying to think of the word here, the when the ladies dance around like this, and she's got a skirt around her. And she's playing like a ukulele. That might be where you've seen the scene. Maybe there's some in Lilo and Stitch, the movie. But yeah, it's a Hawaiian instrument, most noticeably. But of course, we play it all over the states now. So we're gonna see a couple of videos of the ukulele being played. And here is the first video.
Hi, this is Eddie Scher. I'm here to talk about my 1928 Gibson Style O ukulele that's featured on ukelelemag.com right now.
nice. And as you heard in that, it has a particular sound the banjo does, and you may have heard it. You may have played that instrument, like I said, and you may have seen it played if you watch shows like America's Got Talent or you follow specific musicians. You may have seen them play. And I would imagine this particular person we're about to watch is more recognizable than the previous video. So we'll see what you guys think.
Hi, young lady. What is your name?
Grace.
Grace. You're a beautiful young lady. You know that?
Thank you.
How old are you?
12.
Are you excited to be here?
It's crazy.
What are you going to sing?
I'm singing an original.
Really?
Yes.
What's it about?
It's about me.
And are the people at school behind you supporting you?
Most of my friends don't really know I sing.
So they don't know you're here?
No.
You believe that you can win?
Well, I mean, miracles can happen, so possibly.
The stage is yours. Good luck.
I don't know my name. I don't play by the rules of the game. Sorry to say, I'm just trying so I heard you are my sister's friend. You get along quite nicely. You asked me why I cut my hair and changed myself completely. I'm lost, trying to get found in an ocean of people. Please don't ask me anything. I don't know my name. I don't play by the rules of the game. Sorry to say, I'm just trying, just trying. I now know my name. I don't play by the rules of the game, so easy. I'm not trying, but I'm trying to find my way.
So yes, some of you may have heard of her, Grace Vanderwall. She was a contestant on America's Got Talent, and her talent involved her playing a ukulele while she sang. And that instrument is very easy to sing and play at the same time because it's so small. You don't have to do as much with your hands. You'll see a lot of people sing and play with that instrument as well. Okay, this instrument is probably the instrument I would say I'm least familiar with, although the harp is very much so um, a rare and unique instrument in itself. But the mandolin, also very rare as well. The mandolin is a musical instrument in the lute family and is usually plucked with a plectrum or a pick. It commonly has four courses of doubled metal strings tuned in unison, although five and six course versions also exist. It is a soprano member of a family that includes the mandola, octave mandolin, mandocello, and mando bass. Okay, so the difference between this instrument is, so for instance, if there were four strings on the instrument, each string also has another mini string on it. So instead of four strings, it has eight, right? Because that's double. Four times two is eight. If it has five strings, it's doubled. It has 10 strings. So if it's a five string instrument, and if it has a six string, then six times two or six plus six is 12. Okay, so this instrument very unique because it has more strings than the other instruments typically. And we're going to watch a video of this woman playing different versions of the mandolin.
of times people ask me what to look for when they're deciding to get their very first instrument. So the instrument I play now is a 2009 Gibson Master model built by Dave Harvey. But I got this instrument many years after I started playing. I actually got the first mandolin I ever learned to tune on it belonged to my great uncle. It was actually an old bullback taterbug mandolin, as we call them back in Tennessee. And that was really what I learned my first couple tunes on. And my dad said, well, if you'll stick with it and you decide you really want to play, then we'll get you an instrument of your own. So I did. I fell really in love with it. And probably a couple months later, he got me an A model Kentucky mandolin. And it was a great mandolin to start out learning on. And then, I just kept getting nicer instruments as I got more and more serious about it, because so many people, I think, believe, well, if I just have the nicest instrument, then that's the ticket to being able to really sound great. So much of it is really about practice and technique and working on those things. And I'm a believer that if those things are strong, you should be able to make even the most inexpensive mandolin sound pretty good. Now, it is true, the nicer the instrument, the nicer the sound, but all those other things have to be working well too. So start small, find something you like, make sure that the action isn't too high off the strings. That can be really discouraging for people that are just starting if the instrument's way too hard to play. And by action, I mean how high the strings are off of the fretboard. So you want to make sure that it's low enough that it's, you can make a clean sound. Cool. So this is an instrument that I think I first saw Sam Bush play one of these and was like, oh, that's so cool. And this is a 1964 Fender Mandocaster. And that's kind of the fun thing about old instruments, vintage instruments. I own a few of them, and there's something really inspiring about knowing that these instruments have been around much longer than I have, and there's something really special just about how broken in they are and the way they've aged over the years. So yeah, super fun. So super fun. It's 4-string as opposed to 8-string. So when I'm playing acoustic mandolin, you can do a little bit of string bending, but not nearly like what you can do on a 4-string, where there's a lot more opportunity to, play with the movement of bending the strings. A lot of sustain with these guys. And, on their own, they sound nice. It's always, personally, when I'm on the road traveling, I'll use a little bit of a reverb amp. So I have a Fender deluxe reverb that I use, and usually I'll put a little delay and overdrive with it. And a lot of times, if you're not even looking, you might think it's an electric guitar. So it's super fun. Definitely a different voice than what I can have on the acoustic mandolin. So I try to use it as much as I can. And so, unlike the vintage Mandocaster, this is a brand new Clark octave mandolin that I just got very recently. So this is the first tour that I've had it out on, and I've been playing it every night, and it's just been so fun. It's a beautiful instrument, quite different than the last time I was here at Reverb. I have a Weber octave that I play as well. That's an F style. And this has more of the guitar style body as opposed to the mandolin style body that still has the F hole. So it's got a very low, more like guitar-like tone about it. So I first started deciding that I wanted to have a different kind of option as far as the tone of the mandolin goes. The more I started playing solo, and it can be a wonderful option to use the octave mandolin if you're playing in a lot of solo situations. I made an album that was very stripped down with mostly mandolin and voice, and so I wanted to be able to just have a more guitar-like quality on some of the songs. And that's the wonderful thing about the octave mandolin, is it still has that low register that you get with a guitar, but all the same mandolin voicings, because they're tuned exactly like a standard mandolin, G, D, A, and E, but just one octave below. So you get all the mandolin voicings, but with a nice low range. That's the perfect accompaniment for singing. Or oftentimes I'll play octave mandolin if I know I'm going to play a duet with another mandolin player. That can be a nice pairing like that together. They're kind of, in some ways, just the perfect instrument. They just have all the mid-range and low range you could want, and sustain for days. So there's a few different style mandolins that I personally have and love, and it's so fun. I mean, there's mandolas, there's mandocellos, there's electric mandolins, octaves, regular mandolins. They're all great and really fun, and if you've become a complete mandolin nerd like myself, then there's a lot of fun stuff to explore, so good luck.
Awesome. And we're going to move on to the last slide. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, learning about the mandolin. Of the instruments we've learned, the 6 instruments that I have here on this list. No, sorry, I have all of them. Sorry, I didn't scroll down. There's a big list. So, sorry about that. Of all the instruments that we've learned, which of these instruments is your favorite? So we have A, the violin, B, viola, C, cello, D, double bass, E, harp, F, banjo, G, acoustic guitar, H, electric guitar, I, ukulele, or J, mandolin. The violin, the viola, the cello, the double bass, those are the instruments that have strings, and you use the bow to play them all. And the cello, you sit down. And the double bass, you can play, jazz music with your fingers. The harp is the instrument that you can go beautiful glissandos on, and it sits in your lap. The banjo is the more bluegrass sounding instrument. The acoustic guitar is the most popular instrument, I'd say, that people try to learn in the string family. The electric guitar is the rock guitar, the strong rock guitar. The ukulele, the small guitar that, is made in Hawaii. And then, of course, the mandolin in the video we just watched. Versatile instrument, very much capable of doing things the guitar can do, and maybe even a little more. Which one was your favorite? I'm going to go ahead and pick mine. My favorite is the cello of all the instruments. I really believe the cello is a very beautiful instrument. And if I could be good at any instrument on here, it would probably be the acoustic guitar first because it's so versatile and you can use it in so many ways. But I do believe my favorite is the cello. I'm going to go ahead and submit my answer. And that is going to be all we have for the strings family. I really hope you guys have been enjoying learning these families with me, and that you actually are gaining interest possibly in playing instruments in the future. Hopefully our music program here at KIP will grow, and we will be able to introduce you guys to instruments at an earlier age so that your interest can continue to blossom as you get older, and we can create some very awesome musicians here at KIP. As always, Mr. Isaac has 3 things for you. You are kind, you are smart, you are important. I look forward to the day we can make music together again, and until then, have an awesome day, you guys.